Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Chit Chatting with Kate Carr. Be sure to grab your favorite beverage, grab a cute glass, get cozy, relaxed. I want this session to be a little gal pal yip yap session. So let's chat about the Reddit thread r/datinghell. I'm currently drinking a mix of Moroccan mint and chamomile tea from Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's teas. They're good teas. So let me know what you're drinking in the comments below. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, so that way that YouTube knows that you're enjoying the content that I enjoy creating, that you enjoy watching, that YouTube enjoys promoting. So everything kind of come full circle, and you let YouTube know that you're enjoying what you are watching, and we'll just spread this word out to our community of gal pals that want to yip yap and just chat. So by doing that, it will help me and also help everybody in this community kind of grow and just gather around. So be sure to, again, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the YouTube things. I appreciate you so much. Whether you're a returning viewer, a new viewer that happened to stumble upon this video, hello, hi, welcome. Let's get into this video's stories. This first story is simply titled, My First Bad Date. It finally happened at the ripe age of 26. I had a bad first date. I'm just sharing this here because it's honestly kind of funny. So I, 26 female, had been talking to 30 male for a few days. He seemed nice enough and we had some things in common, primarily similar sense of humor. We're both very goal-oriented, like to work out, and both had aspirations of eventually leaving the state that we live in. Okay, so far so good. Banter over text message was fun. I enjoyed talking to him. Around 4 p.m., he asked if I wanted to go bowling with him. I said, sure. We set a time for 5. I usually don't like to do last minute dates, but we were vibing and I figured, why not? I didn't have anything else to do. I feel that. I'm glad. Just go with the flow, okay? I get to the bowling place and immediately when I see him, I'm not really feeling it. He's not really my type. But I'm dedicated to seeing it through, trying to get to know him some more. We walk in and he's not really saying much to me. He pays for us to go for an hour, but doesn't really give me any direction on like where to get the bowling balls, how to set up the thing. I've been bowling before, but I've never been to this specific place. Finally, we get set up and he says, hey, I'm gonna go say hi to my brother real quick. Okay, cool. Didn't know his brother was there. I didn't know if he worked there or just hung out there or what, and never really got a chance to ask. He leaves me sitting in our lane for about 5-ish minutes, and when he comes back, he has a beer. I'm not a huge drinker, and we both discussed that prior. And while I don't have any problem with drinking, I usually tend to avoid it on the first date. So I ordered water, and we started our game. We're halfway through our first game, and he asks me if I'm religious. I tell him, no, I'm agnostic, and he asks me why. Mind you, this is the first thing this man has asked me since we met up. I give him the short-term version of it, which is just that my parents let us explore religions and none of them really clicked for me. He asked me where my parents live, and I told him my dad lives in a different state with my brothers, to which he follows up, where's your mom? Again, I try to give him the short of it and say that my parents divorced about a decade ago and she hasn't really been around. From there, I tried to turn this conversation more lighthearted by joking about his bowling skills and asking if he was secretly a pro because he was absolutely whooping my butt in the second game. The responses were kind of dry, and eventually I just gave up, especially after he left me alone to go back and grab another beer. At this point, I'm a little discouraged, but I'm holding out, hoping that maybe once we finish playing, that we will go get some food, because the place we went has a little restaurant side of it, and we could talk and get to know each other more. At the start of the third and last game, he goes to tell me that he's going to grab another beer, but ultimately decides against it because we only have 15 minutes left in our lane. We don't really talk much during the last game, but when we finish, he fist bumps me and tells me to get home safe, that he's gonna go hang out with his brother and get blackout drunk. I'm kind of just like, all right, and he walks off without saying another word. So yeah, not a complete nightmare of a date, but definitely probably one of the worst I've ever had. I'm just laughing to myself the whole way home. But yeah, back to the drawing board. Oh, dang, OP, I'm glad that you can, like, laugh it off and be like, all right, it's not terrible, but it's also, like, what the hell? And, like, when it happened, you're probably just, like, you're probably on your drive home, like, what was going on the last hour? What just happened? It's a shame, though, because it seemed like you guys were, like, hitting it off at first. It's like, okay, cool, we have the same sense of humor. And then when you were trying to, like, banter with him in person, he was just not giving it to you. And it's like, all right, cool. Let's just bowl, I guess. All right, cool, thanks. Yeah. All right, I gotta go now. So sorry to hear, OP. But hey, at least you said it was your first one. You're 26 and this is your first bad date. So, you know, the odds, your track record's going good. So far so good for you. I hope the best for everybody involved. And I hope that the brother, I don't know, like what did the brother think about all this? Like, was he like, come back? Like, and this man's 30, so that's why I'm a little confused, but that's besides the point. So this title really stood out to me. It's just, that's my ice cream. So of course I naturally had to be like, what is going on here? When I, female, was in college, I'd often accept date requests, mainly if the guys would offer to take me to dinner. It sounds shitty, but I was broke and wasn't going to turn down the free food. My first story happened shortly after I started school, and one of my previous managers at work had asked me out on a date. Big mistake. He wasn't my type, but he was trying so hard. And when he asked me to take me to my favorite restaurant for dinner one night, I couldn't refuse. The dinner wasn't bad. We sat and reminisced about work, talking about all the wild things that happened and what everybody else was up to now. Dinner ends, and we were walking down the street, and we passed an ice cream shop. I tell him how much I love that place and how it sounds so good, but I'm stuffed. We continue walking to our vehicle, and he's asking me about my favorite flavor of ice cream. I listed off my top 3, and he told me his. When we get to the car, I say goodbye and thank him for the dinner. He says he can stop by the store and grab some ice cream for later if we want to keep the date going. I pass and thank him again. About 30 minutes after I return to my apartment, I hear a knock at the door. I look and see this guy standing there with a grocery bag of ice cream. I politely let him in and tell him that I'm not really feeling up to hanging out anymore at the moment, but it was a sweet gesture. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He put the ice cream in my freezer for later and went into my bedroom. We sat on my bed and talked for a little while, then I turned on a show. I was sitting there thinking of ways I could get this guy to leave, but was coming up short, so I figured I would just ignore him long enough for that he would leave. After about 4 or 5 episodes of the show, he got up and I thought he was finally leaving, but he came back with the ice cream. It wasn't even one of the flavors I listed. He sat next to me eating and would offer me some every few bites. I kept telling him no, and finally, after a while, he put it away. At this point, he's been hanging out for a few hours, and I was fed up. I pulled my phone out and started texting my friends about how weird this guy is acting. He didn't care at all. Finally, I texted a guy I was talking to and asked him to call me, hoping and praying that he would hear another man's voice on the phone that would piss him off enough to leave. I stayed on the phone for about an hour and a half while this guy laid on my bed behind me. I told the guy on the phone that we should probably hang up because I had company, and we ended the call. After I put my phone away, I turned around to see this guy, stripped completely, lying on my bed. I was livid. I yelled at him and told him he needed to leave now. He then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're not even..." Ew, he asked me something gross. I was flabbergasted. I yelled at him some more, and he finally got dressed and headed to leave. He walked out of my room, slammed the door behind him. Shortly after that, I heard another door slam and was relieved that he was finally gone. But then I heard a third door slam. I got up to see what was going on, and he was nowhere to be found. Later that night, as I was laying in bed, I was thinking about the second and third doors that I heard. I couldn't figure it out. That's when it hit me. I ran to the kitchen to check my freezer. Sure enough, he took the ice cream with him. I couldn't help but laugh. I totally understand, like, being, like, nervous and just being like, I'm gonna be, like, nice and polite. But, girl, I literally am speechless. You guys were there he was there for, like a whole shift. He was almost there, like, 8 hours. If you went through, like, 4 or 5 episodes, then you were on the phone for an hour and a half. OP, I really wish you just didn't let him in. That would have, I really wish you didn't let him in. But again, I understand, like, the nervousness. So that's not the point. That's not the problem at all. It's just like, But also, too, that man needs to be, like, put his face out there. That is disturbing. That is, like, definitely, like, harassment of some sort. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Leave my house right now. And also, I hope you washed your sheets, because if you turned around and he was naked, that's literally harassment. What is going on? Like, what do you mean? I did not ask you to strip in my house, let alone strip in my bed where you've been here for 6 hours and you're not getting the hint that I want you to leave. And I wish that OP also, like, would have been, like, on speakerphone at that point. Like, put on speakerphone if you're trying to, like, annoy him for the guys in the voice or whatever. I was not expecting this to go down this route, honestly. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, OP. That is so disgusting and so terrifying, too, at the same time. Like, that is so scary. And the fact that, like, you know, Yeah, I'm all about like laughing off your trauma, but like, girl, like I hope you're okay because that is scary, and I hope that everything's okay. Again, I have no other words because like you were flabbergasted, I'm flabbergasted reading this for you, and again, I hope like everything's okay. Again, this was in the back, or this was in the past, so I'm glad it's not up to date and currently happening, I guess. I'm sure you had time to soak it in because that's so messed up. You should not have had to go through that, and also like, why did he think that was okay? And like you said, at the end of the day, you're laughing because like all of that, and he took the dang ice cream. It wasn't even the flavors you like, but he still took the ice cream. It's like, he said, I'm still taking my ice cream. So it's not a laughable situation at all. Like, this is actually so scary, but I'm glad that like you can kind of, that's how you're coping, because that's how I cope with stuff too. It's just like, if I'm not gonna laugh, if I'm not laughing about it, I'm gonna cry about it. So I just hope you're staying safe out there. And also, I totally forgot a huge part of it. This was her like boss that she worked at, this is the person that she worked with too, or manager, not boss, either way. Report this to whatever a company you were at. It doesn't matter if it was forever ago, especially if he's still working there. That is terrifying. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm so sorry I had to go through that, OP, but no, like the fact of all this too, it's like, all right, and then he's like, I'm taking my ice cream, you can't even have my ice cream. Like, okay, man, child, goodbye. But also, like, you're disgusting and you're gross and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry again. I'm losing data like by the second, so I gotta rush to this last one. The day I was soft kidnapped by my high school boyfriend's stepmom. Excuse me? This is the story of when I was soft kidnapped. I say soft because it wasn't truly a legitimate kidnapping. I was held against my will in a vehicle, but truly never felt scared for my life. Names are changed for privacy reasons. I'm a 25-year-old female, but the story is set in 2015. I was with my high school boyfriend, Eric, at the time, and we were both about a month or two into our sophomore year. It was a staff development day, so the kids had off while the teachers had meetings all day. Both of his parents were teachers at a different school in the district, leaving Eric home alone, so naturally, he invited me over. I was unaware that he did not get permission from his parents. His parents, specifically his stepmom, Jan, were extremely strict. She usually did not let me at his house when there weren't any supervision, but I didn't think about it much, honestly. Since neither of us had our driver's license yet, I took the bus to get to his house with my dad's permission. It was about 11:30 and we had just made lunch and were watching TV in their family room downstairs. When we heard somebody come into the house, Eric assumed it was one of his parents coming home and immediately told me to go hide in his room, which was off of the family room. Instead of hiding in the closet, under the bed, or any other actual hiding spots, I just stood at the other side of his bed. Eric was still in the family room when I heard him talking to someone. Then, his stepmom walked into the room and saw me. She said nothing, but grabbed my hand and dragged me up the stairs and into the garage. She didn't let me grab my pants, shoes, bags, or anything. I just had my phone. She put me into the car, and I thought she was going to yell at me a bit and take me home. As soon as we got in the car, she told me to call her school using my phone. She told me to tell the receptionist that there's been an emergency and that Jan won't be coming back to work today, so I did. We started aimlessly driving around the city as she was sobbing and screaming at me that I disobeyed her trust. She told me that I was ruining my life by living in the moment and not think of the consequences of my choices. She accused me of trespassing and influencing her stepson. We then eventually got to her husband's school that he worked at. She then told me to call her husband to have him come out, but the call went to voicemail. I honestly don't know what would have happened if he responded. She had me call because she was sobbing and didn't have her phone with her. Why is this child in your car when she's not supposed to be and you're freaking out at her? And you said you felt safe, or you said you didn't feel like in complete danger, so that's good at least. I don't know. That's when she took my phone and put it on the driver's side door pocket. We continued driving as I begged her just to take me home. I was crying at the time and was trying to signal to other drivers that I was in a bad situation. After about an hour of driving and me banging on the windows at others, she drove me back to my house. She pulled into my driveway but wouldn't give me my phone back. She insisted that I give her my passcode because she was without a phone, and since she left it at work, I don't know why she didn't just go back to work, but apparently finding a girl at her house was too traumatizing. Yeah, like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I get why she would be a little annoyed or angry and be like, what the hell, why is this happening? But to do all this, and you're a teacher, and you can, like, snap at that I don't know. After arguing with her to give me back my phone, my dad pulls into the driveway. Jan immediately exits the car and runs to my dad to tell her what happened. Apparently, she told my dad that her world ended today. And my dad seriously thought that Eric had died or was seriously hurt. I grabbed my phone and my dad saw me in my underwear running inside of our house. After Jan was finished talking to my dad, he came into the house and said, "Wow, that's a crazy woman." About 10 minutes later, Eric's dad calls me back to ask why I had called him. I told him to talk to Jan and hung up. I wasn't allowed back at his house for months afterwards. That is bizarre. That is traumatizing too. Also, like, what? And were you on the med? The fact that that's what got you to snap again. And like I said, like, she's a teacher and this is how she's reacting to a child. OP says in the comments, unfortunately, Eric and I dated for a few more years afterwards. I was 15 at the time, so I didn't realize what she did was illegal. I blamed myself for it at first, and I didn't want to get in any trouble by reporting her or causing any more drama. If I had the confidence I do now, I probably would have done something about it, but oh well. That's such a shame too, because like you are automatically thinking that you did something wrong. Yeah, you did a child, like, teenage, like, sneaking in the house thing. That does not compare to this at all or deserve any of this. What the hell? Yeah, go talk to Jan. Go talk to your wife. Like, oh, hey, what's up? Why'd you call me? Talk to your wife. What do you mean? Yeah, go talk to your wife and ask her those questions, actually, because what the hell? She is psychotic. She needs to get checked. That is terrifying. And the fact that she said she wasn't allowed back at his house for months, like, okay, months is nothing, and then dated him for a couple more years. That means you had to be around that woman for a couple more years. I get you were 15 and stuff, but I'm surprised your dad didn't do more, because yeah, that woman's crazy, but did you realize you didn't realize what she did was illegal, but why did your dad not realize what just happened was illegal, and like almost like you said, soft kidnapping over something that did not deserve this reaction at all. I'm so sorry for you, OP. That is wild. That's literally the best word I have for that right now, because these stories just kind of threw me through a whirlwind I was not expecting. Like I said, I usually just read the titles and then just blind react with you for the rest of the story, and these are insane. To all the OPs, I appreciate you writing into these Reddit threads. And on that note, I'm going to end this week's video of going down and chit-chatting the Reddit thread r/datinghell. If you have any recommendations or any specific Reddit threads that you would like me to react to, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on today's stories. I feel like these are the more like kind of outrageous ones, more compared to the ones I've recently done. So let me know your thoughts below, because these are insane, and obviously Dating Hell, it literally screams at Kate, duh, but I wasn't expecting the levels that it was coming in. So I appreciate you watching this week's video. Again, if you are a new viewer, hi, welcome. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, I hope you are already like, commenting, share, subscribing, because if you're subscribed and you're a new viewer and you're a returning viewer, then you're a part of this Gal Pal community. If you're a new viewer, you're a part of this Gal Pal community, and by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, it tells the YouTube universe that you're enjoying the content that I'm creating, that I enjoy creating, that you enjoy consuming, that YouTube enjoys promoting. So please be sure to chit chat with me in the comments below. I need to know your thoughts. That's what's gonna make this Gal Pal chit chat and community full circle. So please don't be shy in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, and with fun, love, peace, all of the above. I appreciate you again tuning into this new video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.